What it do, people? Thank you for choosing Total Payout Podcast, chilling with your host, Trouble. Today's date, April 25th, 2026, Saturday. Great day for basketball, man. We got 4 games on deck, so we got a nice slate today. We got Detroit versus Orlando. We got OKC versus Phoenix. We got Denver versus Minnesota, and we got New York versus Atlanta. So we got some great games on deck today, man. Now, let's go ahead and start with the first game. We got Detroit versus Orlando. Series tied 1-1. Now the last 10, Orlando 6-4 straight up last 10. Orlando 6-4 against the spread last 10, and the under is 6-4 last 10. Now Detroit is 11-5 against the spread last 16, 4-1 straight up last 5, 5-0 against the spread last 5 away on Saturday, and they're 23-18 against the spread away from home overall. Now Orlando is 5-1 straight up last 6 at home, 7-1 straight up last 7 at home versus Detroit, 4-1 against the spread last 5 on Saturday, and 21-22 against the spread at home overall. Now, my personal line in this game is a pick. Vegas has it at Detroit minus 2.5. Kind of tough in this game, man. Obviously, Orlando at home being 7-1 against the Detroit last 8. So, they obviously dominate Detroit at home. Detroit, no slouch on the road. 4-1 last 5 straight up. They're 5-0 against the spread last 5 away from home on Saturdays. But I'm going to go ahead and take the dog at home on this one. Obviously, Detroit mopped Orlando up second game 2. Kind of expected it. Orlando off of wins, kind of tough to roll with. But I do expect them to kind of revert more to the game 1 mode than the game 2 mode. They did come out a little decent game 1 first quarter, but after that it was a wipeout. Now this game I do expect Orlando role players to show up, way better than they did game 2. Game 2 Desmond Bane no show. Franz didn't show up till second half, late third, early fourth quarter. Jalen Suggs had a decent game, but he shot the ball too much. I think Jalen needs to go back to being a point guard. Paolo needs to keep doing what he's doing. I think Wendell Carter didn't show up game 2. I kind of expected that because he had a great game 1. I expected him to kind of go backwards to game 2. He's not that consistent, so I'm gonna roll with Orlando at least to cover. I kind of expect them to win this game. But I do expect them, if not to win, to cover the 2.5. Seeing how they got mopped up, I can see some money going in on Detroit. I can see this going to +3 before I can see this going to -2. But hey, I might be wrong, but I can see this going to +3 before I can see it going to -2. Now, second game, we're going to handicap OKC versus Phoenix. Been blowouts 2 games. Obviously, OKC didn't cover the second game. But nonetheless, they haven't really been that close. Just a bad fourth quarter by OKC for the non-cover. Now, OKC up 2-0. Head-to-head last 10, OKC 8-2 straight up last 10. They're 6-4 against the spread last 10, OKC versus Phoenix, and then the over is 7-3 last 10. Now, OKC is 9-4 against the spread last 13 versus Phoenix, 4-1 against the spread away versus Phoenix, 10-4 against the spread last 14 versus the Pacific Division, and they're 20-20 against the spread away from home overall, so even on the spread as far as away from home. Now, Phoenix is 3-8 against the spread last 11, 5-15 against the spread last 20 in April, but they're 24-19 against the spread at home overall. Now, my line, I got OKC -5. I know Vegas does have OKC opened up at -9, so it's a pretty big spread. Half of what they were getting at home, 19, 17, 18, 19 points at home. Now they're 9 on the road. Kind of tough, man, because Phoenix only pretty much had a good fourth quarter to cover that big spread. I think they went down by as much as like 25 in the third quarter. Then fourth quarter, flipped the script, covered the spread. I know J-Dub might be out. They're claiming Shea SGA hurt his hand. Kind of tough in this game, man. I'm going to go ahead and roll Phoenix +9. I think they got one good game in them to make it a little bit more competitive. Not win, but a competitive game. I do see that's why I think the spread is under 10. I think that if they're going to make it a competitive game, we could say under 10 would be a competitive game. They got it pretty much with 1 point cushion under that 10. But I'm going to roll with Phoenix to cover this 9 points, man. I think they're going to not necessarily make OKC sweat, but we all know OKC, is the dominant team, the best team in the NBA. But we're just asking Phoenix just to cover the 9 points. So go ahead and give me Phoenix +9 points. Now, the third game, we're going to handicap Denver versus Minnesota. Minnesota is up 2-1. Trying to play boogeyman right now on Denver. Head-to-head last 10, Minnesota 6-4 straight up last 10. Minnesota 6-4 against the spread last 10, and the total is 5-5. So pretty even on the over/under. Now, Denver is 4-9 straight up last 13 versus Minnesota, 1-5 against the spread last 6 away from home, but they're 12-2 straight up last 14 versus the Western Conference, and they're 24-18 against the spread overall away from home. Now, Minnesota 4-1 against the spread last 5. Minnesota 4-1 straight up last 5. Minnesota 6-1 against the spread last 7 versus the Western Conference, and they're 5-2 against the spread last 12 in April, but they're 19-23 against the spread at home overall. Now, my line in this game, I have Minnesota -3. Vegas has Denver again -1.5. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna take Minnesota money line. I mean, until Denver shows us likewise, they get called out by Jaden McDaniels. I know I took Denver last game thinking they were gonna take that personal, being a championship team, having the MVP, and they look worse than they did the other game. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll Minnesota till Denver shows me otherwise. I have to zag back based on what I seen that last game. I don't think Denver has it. Aaron Gordon out. Still, I don't know if he's still out. Peyton Watson, I know he's out, but I know Aaron Gordon that being out hurts them tremendously. So give me Minnesota money line. I don't even need the +1.5 unless Denver shows me otherwise. If Minnesota lose, because they didn't show up, not because Denver took it from them. No matter how I look at that game, no matter what it looks like, if Denver blows them out, it's because Minnesota did not show up. So give me Minnesota money line. Now the fourth and final game we're gonna handicap today: New York versus Atlanta. Atlanta up 2-1. They flipped the series. Head-to-head last 10. New York 6-4 straight up last 10. Atlanta 6-4 against the spread last 10, and the under is 7-3 last 10. Now New York is 6-2 against the spread last 8. 4-8 against the spread last 12 versus Atlanta. New York is 1-7 against the spread last 8 away from home, and they're 10-5 against the spread last 15 in April. Now Atlanta 15-1 straight up last 16 at home. 14-6 against the spread last 20 versus the Eastern Conference. They're 2-4 against the spread last 6 as a dog, and they're 22-20 against the spread at home overall. Atlanta. Now my personal line in this game has a pick, so pretty much even. Now Vegas line got New York again opened up at -1.5. Another one of those agains. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the Knicks money line in this game, man. I know I took the Knicks money line last game. They lost by 1 point. I feel like Atlanta played the game, a better game, more complete game for probably 3/4 of the game, and New York probably had maybe I give them throughout the whole duration. If I add it up, they probably had a quarter and a half of great basketball, and they lost by 1. So I expect New York to be looking at this game like I said, when they lost the game 2, I expected this game to go 7, but I expected New York to win the first game in Atlanta, and then Atlanta win the second game. I'm just gonna reverse it and take Atlanta did steal one. I'm gonna take New York to buckle up and know they have to get this game. They go down 3-1. It's pretty much over with. Mike Brown pretty much gonna be fired one season in. If you ask me, if they lose to Atlanta first round, Mike Brown out of there, man. I mean, I don't know how he can keep his job, seeing that they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. You fired the coach, hired the dude, and they go out in the first round. Yeah, he can't stay on board after that. So just by default, he has to go if they lose this series. So I expect New York, if they like Mike, and like I always say, man, even if it's turmoil in the locker room, no matter what's going on, the players gonna have to wear their egg on their face. That's a stain on them. So even if they're going down with the ship, it's gonna be on them and their resume at the end of the day, because there is a such thing as a coach killer. So we have to actually acknowledge that stuff sometimes. So let's go ahead and handicap the games we have today. We got Orlando at home +2.5 over Detroit. Like I said, I think Orlando gonna go ahead and hold serve. They had a bad game. I expect them to come out and compete. If not win, at least cover the 2.5. I do expect some money to come in on Detroit. So if we can wait around for a +3, I like that as well. Then we got Phoenix at home +9. I mean, I don't expect Phoenix to get blown out every single game of this series. I know J-Dub's out. They claim Shea had a hand injury. I don't expect it to sit him out or anything, or even affect his game. He had 37 even in that. So, like I said, I expect OKC to win. I just think Phoenix is going to be, home cooking. I think they want to, it's their first home playoff game. I don't think they made the playoffs last year, so it's tough, man. I expect them to compete. So go ahead and give me Phoenix +9. Now the third game, we're gonna go ahead and take Minnesota Timberwolves money line. They're making Minnesota a dog again. From what I'm looking at, last two games, Minnesota's playing. They're playing bully ball with Denver. I don't think Denver has the personnel to compete. Obviously, the matchups are not that great because not to say Rudy could guard Jokic, but they at least have somebody over there who can compete. I don't think Denver has anyone who could compete with Ant and probably even Julius Randle, and at this point, Jaden McDaniels too. So it's kind of tough as far as guarding those guys for me to have any trust in Denver without Aaron Gordon, without Peyton Watson. If Aaron Gordon plays, probably give Denver a little bit added incentive to go harder. But even then, he's just one player. And he got called out, and that Jaden McDaniels called out as well. So it wasn't like he saved some respect for Aaron Gordon. Now, the final pick that we're going to take today is going to be the Knicks money line. Like I said, man, I expect New York to hold serve and try to get this game get this series 2-2 going back to New York. I do expect the Knicks to, go out here and fight. I like New York first half in the game. I ain't gonna say wire to wire. I'm gonna hold that, but I expect New York to go out there and compete, play good defense. Obviously, I don't think they have a great defense, but I expect their defenders that actually do play defense to go out there and take it on themselves. To CJ Collins first and foremost, they've been doing a great job on Alexander, but I don't expect the Kaminga to get off with 25. Maybe you might get Jalen Johnson finally to have a great game, but I expect the focal point of everything to be on CJ McCollum. Now, I'm not saying they can shut him down because CJ cold blooded, but every basketball player has an off night, and I expect them the first half, especially to press him. I expect them to press him the first half. Get him out of his rhythm, and then in the second half, it might not fall for him when he needs to fall. Like, because the first half he's been putting up 16 plus points in the first half. Second half you ain't gonna be able to guard him. If they can make him shoot bricks in the first half, second half not gonna be so light for him. So go ahead and take the Knicks and money line in that game. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Total Payout Podcast, chilling with your host Trouble. Say today's day, April 25th, 2026, Saturday. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe at the end of this video, man. I appreciate you guys giving me your time today. Greatly appreciate it. Like I always say, man, please stay out the way. I want to thank you guys. Have a good one.
Hey, Rick and Thad.